Okay, so as teased, and we're very excited about it, Cam Taylor-Britt, the Bengals' second-round pick in 2022, is joining us on the Orange and Black Insider and CincyJungle.com. Cam, great to have you with us, man. I know you're busy. You got your autograph hand going busy today, but thanks for joining us, man. What's going on?
Man, nothing much down here in Atlanta. Training right now until we go back. We leave the 23rd. We need to be report back up there, but just getting it in until that time comes.
Awesome. Well, we're going to talk about a lot, and I guess we'll kind of go a little bit in chronological order, if you will, in terms of kind of your journey to the NFL, your journey to the Bengals, and whatnot. And of course, Cam is joining us thanks to Sports Trust Advisors, the great people there, hooking us up and linking us with Cam Taylor-Britt here. Just let's talk a little bit, if you can, Cam, about your draft preparation and leading up to the draft. Obviously a lot of workouts, a lot of different things, but what was just that entire process like for you, kind of going from that college to pro transition? And then of course, what was kind of the first inklings you got that the Bengals were heavily interested in you in that pre-draft process?
Okay, yeah. Well, it kind of just started out in Dallas, where I was training at Exos under Brent Callaway, working on my speed training and everything down there. He's a great coach, so I wanted to get under him. I seen the guys that he had before, and just were blazing fast, and that's what I needed. At the time, I wasn't too much worried about the athletic part. It was more that long speed and just getting out there and showing the coach that I can run. And I believe I did that. I had the opportunity to showcase that at the combine, but also just during practices at the Reese's Senior Bowl, where, we had the opportunity to be in front of numerous of coaches and scouts and, just everybody, even the fans there. And it was a great opportunity. Well, leading up to the draft, it was just honestly just chills, just because we did have a great visit when I was on my top 30 with the Bengals. Me and Coach Birch just had the realest conversation that I've had with a coach besides my coach at Nebraska, Coach Fisher, and that I kind of needed that. And when I heard my name called, just got the call anyway from Coach Taylor, it was like a dream. And I told my friends that I wouldn't switch any positions with them as far as the places they got drafted, because I'm happy where I'm at.
For sure, man. Like, I think a lot of players who are kind of young into the league, like their second and third years, they always look back at the rookie season as the nonstop year, because you go straight from college to training for the draft and then mini camp, and now it's kind of like your only downtime right before the season. How have you kind of managed that? Have you talked to people about how to manage this nonstop year that you have going on?
Man, most definitely. I talk to the older guys all the time on the team, and they just let me know that everybody went through it. And you have to understand that you're not the only person that has to, have extra meetings just because you're a rookie. You start from the bottom of the totem pole again. You're not in college anymore, and you have to, expect that and respect it at that, because that's how the game goes.
Talking with Cam Taylor-Britt, Bengals 2022 second-round pick, joining us thanks to Sports Trust Advisors. We're stoked to be talking with him a little bit of his draft process, his short time so far with the Bengals, and what's ahead for him. I asked you a little bit about, the lead up to the draft and preparing and all of that. Obviously, you talked about your speed and you weren't really worried about where you were in terms of athleticism and stuff, but I mean, are there some specific things when you're working out where you're saying, hey, we're doing these specific drills just because it's the combine and these things are looked at so diligently by teams at this specific event and your pro day as well? Maybe talk a little bit about that. And if you would, what kind of weird questions were you at? I always like to hear, were you asked any weird questions? You don't have to say the team if it was the Bengals or whoever else.
That'd be preferable, though.
Yeah, if you want to, you can. But I mean, I'm always curious, just kind of that process and just some of the odd questions maybe that players get asked during that process.
Man, the questions were kind of crazy, you can say. They did ask a lot. They asked about your parents and things. They asked about someone that you're friends with in 2006. I was like, I was 6 years old. How do you know about this? So it was just some of those questions that you wouldn't expect from somebody that you just met that knows your whole life story, and that's how it kind of goes. You know, you're in those informal meetings and formal meetings, and they have everything they need to know about you. They just want to see if you're going to tell the truth.
So I got a quote from you from an athletic article that was about a year ago. You said, quote, about leaving or staying in Nebraska for your senior year. I didn't have a season worthy of leaving. I've got a chip on my shoulder right now, and I would say this chip is that I didn't play to my ability. I know people may say that I played well, but I feel like I've got a lot more in me. What was the thought process of coming back to Nebraska, and where would you say that you're most improved now compared to where you were last year going into your final season?
This has just been the most comfortable I've been, you know, playing football. It started off sophomore year, you know, just getting thrown in the fire. And then junior year came up, and I was, you know, still trying to get the hang of it, but it wasn't like my best. And I knew that for a fact, you know, and to leave early and enter the draft that year wasn't going to be the best decision for me. You know, I feel like I would have made it, but it wouldn't have been in the second round, you know, and I had the opportunity to be, you know, drafted then, and I'm grateful for that.
I want to play this for you, Cam. This is kind of the little I teased you before we took, you know, we got you on the air here, that I've got a little surprise for you. I'm sure you've seen this video clip, but I want to play it with you because my question is, and it's probably a cliched question, but I kind of like the one about what teams ask you during the pre-draft process. I want to know a little bit about what was the myriad of emotions and what was maybe the most prevalent emotion when you got this call and the subsequent announcement.
Hello?
Cam, Coach Taylor at the Bengals.
Hey, how you doing, Coach?
You ready to come to Cincinnati?
Man, let's make it happen.
All right, man. We're going to submit your name right now.
Yes, sir.
All right. We're excited about you. Can't wait to get you back over here, okay? Just about 2 weeks we saw you, so we're fired up.
Yes, sir. Let's get to work, man.
All right, man. See you soon.
Yes, sir.
Nebraska, fellas. Why not?
Yep. Can't stop smiling.
So they're the Bengals were obviously stoked to get you, and they moved up to get you and everything. So
yes,
we know that. But you know, you dropped your head a little bit. Is it relief? Is it just a, you know, this is all of the hard work paying off? I mean, what's kind of going through your mind? Obviously, there's a lot of emotions. You're there with your friends and family, but I just wanted to share that video. I came across it again recently, and I thought it was so cool. And just if you can just kind of share a little bit of what was going through your mind when you got that call from Coach Taylor.
I saw Cincinnati on the call, so I was like, oh, what? I was kind of hesitant to answer the phone, knowing, you know, the whole night we're waiting on the phone to ring, and when it rings, I'm like, oh, here it goes. Like, and, you know, it's just chills running all the way through my body. And, you know, everybody just get really quiet. And I put the phone, you know, to my ear, and I hear the voice. And once I hear the voice, I just knew what it was. And just to hear that name of the team, you know, and just the run that they just came off of and the guys that they have on the team, not even knowing, you know, the relationship that we have now would even happen. Just grateful for that opportunity. Yeah, it was relief. You can say that, you know, I'm getting my family and myself in a better position, you know, to win in every aspect in life. And, you know, I kind of started it off right there. And, you know, we have a lot more to go.
Yeah, so I kind of wanted to ask you about that. Like, what were your impressions about, if you had any impressions about the Bengals before this past season? Did you follow like their run to the Super Bowl, and like how did that kind of change once you like saw them go into the playoffs and then entering the draft process?
Yeah, I feel just like kind of everybody was on to those guys, you know, just watching you just because the guys they do have on the field and they're playmakers. I go against them every day, and they're playmakers for sure. But, you know, just seeing those guys, you know, fight through the season. I didn't get a chance to, you know, watch every game, but the games that I did watch, it was always a dog fight. Man, you know, everybody watched playoff football, NFL football, and, you know, I was tuned into that, just making sure, you know, because I had to see what teams, you know, I had the opportunity, you know, to be here, but I just didn't know where I would end up. So I was just, you know, watching those guys.
Talking with Cam Taylor-Britt, Bengals 2022 draft pick. Happy to be chatting with him, hopefully for a couple more minutes if you're cool on time, Cam. I want to be considerate of that. That kind of segues nicely into another question I had for you as we kind of look ahead to now. You are a Bengal. We've talked about the draft and all that. You are a Bengal. You've done some workouts with him, signed the contract, the whole deal. Training camp is around the corner. So I assume, my question is, what has you kind of most excited about the team and you being on it? I think I don't want to answer my own question for you, but I would think that one of the elements has to be the fact that you're going to a team that just made the Super Bowl among many others. And we'd probably like to hear about what's got you jazzed up about going into training camp.
Most definitely that. And just the guys in the locker room, a lot of people don't get to see, the way that they act. And, they, of course, everybody we put on the athletic role when we're outside of, the locker room. But when we're in the locker room, they're being themselves, and everybody doesn't get to see that. And I'm so grateful that I'm in this, this light right here with those guys, because, it's not the team to, I guess, down the rookies or do anything. They really help us out in any way possible. And that goes for the offensive guys, helping defensive guys, and defensive guys helping offensive guys. Even the special teams guys, like, step in, and say what they need to say, just so, that we know everybody is on our side. So that's how it kind of goes, with us.
Yeah, so you had rookie minicamp a couple months ago. You guys drafted a lot of speed, including you. You got a lot of speed in that backfield now.
Yep.
Do you guys have a race between you and Dax and Tyson Anderson?
We talked about that. We're gonna set it up, here.
All right.
We're gonna make something happen for you.
Yeah, we had that. One of our listeners actually asked that when we promoted the fact that you're going to be appearing on that. So that was a good question from Greg there that we had to ask. Yeah, I mean,
that's great.
Do you remember years ago? I mean, I don't know how closely you paid attention to the Bengals years ago, but do you remember when Chad Ochocinco raced the racehorse? Do you remember that whole deal?
I remember that. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you got that in your future, but maybe
Ochocinco's been viral a lot. So most definitely I saw it.
Going into training camp and everything, what do you think? What's been kind of expressed to you from the coaches, Zach Taylor, Lou Anarumo, Coach Burks, et cetera? I mean, what's been expressed to you in terms of immediate role, future role? There's a lot of depth, a lot of former high picks in that secondary that are hanging out in that, in those position groups there. So what have they kind of expressed to you in terms of opportunity, immediate role, future role, and how are you kind of approaching that?
I'm approaching it, you feel me, like every day is a new day. You have to come in and work, and I kind of want to get that in my head early, because a lot of rookies, they don't come in, focused. So I want to go in and ask every question possible, just because, we do have those older guys in the room that will help out anytime. We have, Eli, Cheeto, Von Bell, Jesse Bates. I can go on and on, and that's a backfield right there. As far as starting, rolling anything, yes, boundary corner where I'll be rotating, or anything, but there's no, honest say right now, because, the season isn't here. But going through training camp, they've been saying, everything full speed. It doesn't matter, you mess up, we'll fix it right now, but don't continue to mess up on the same thing. You're in the NFL for a reason, and there aren't too many hiccups, because you mess it up, there's a touchdown, especially on the back end. And just technique-wise, that's one thing that we do focus on. We don't do a lot, what the other teams do, it's really kind of cool and calm, where they really want us to work on our technique, make sure the talking across the field is great and not loud. Everybody's getting it. It's just not thrown at us right now. It's really kind of making sure that we get it, before they move on to something else.
So are you just gonna be IDing Stanley Morgan wherever he's on the wire, or he's on the field? You're just gonna line up against him. Yeah.
Every time. Yeah. Most definitely.
Did you get more wins and losses in minicamp? Like, did you keep track of that?
I didn't, but I didn't lose a lot.
Sounds like you did.
Yeah. He's got a little score sheet. You can tell. Come on now.
A little bit. Nah.
What do you think you're working on the most in terms of honing skills and whatnot going into training camp? What's kind of the thing? I mean, obviously you're a very talented guy. You got a lot of athleticism, and the future is very, very bright for you. But I mean, everybody's got to work on something, right? So what do you think you're kind of specifically working on as you get going into training camp?
Just transitioning out of my break fast as possible. I've always kind of just said that, just because I feel like there should be no false steps in that break. and even just being so, fluid. I want to be, very smooth in my back pedal and even just getting out of my brakes so I can come back downhill fast as possible before the receiver gets out. Also, I had LASIK eye surgery, so, high pointing the ball, making sure that I'm actually using these beautiful eyes I have now. Man, because, yeah, it was kind of tough, but what else? And as far as like besides the field stuff, this playbook, you have to get it down pat. And I try to talk to my teammates all the time, get little hints and stuff like, how would you look at this right here? And they'll tell me how they played it, what helps him, and what didn't help him. So, I asked some of the guys, about that stuff as well.
Yeah, just last question from me, Cam. Do you have any like specific like stat goals or just like any playing time goals, or like what are you most looking forward to accomplishing as a rookie?
Honestly, just being the best teammate that I can be for this team. I want to come in and contribute to anything that possible that can help this team win. And I'm not just saying, starting corner or starting safety, anything. With special teams, if I can make an impact there and, help this team in the biggest way possible, I'm going to do it. I kind of said this at Nebraska, and I wanted to, continue doing that because that's who I am, and I don't want to be that guy who doesn't want to play special teams.
Last one from me, Cam, and we'll get you out of here. Appreciate your time. It just kind of a fun one. I mean, we talked about Ocho racing the horse, and we know about AJ Green, and we found out that he likes to juggle and he's very good at. Well, what's something that the fans don't know? I didn't know about the LASIK thing. Not that that's a fun thing or a hobby or anything, but like, what's like something about you that fans should know about you in terms of like, hey, this is a passion of mine. This is something I do outside of football, or just some other things.
I don't know. Oh, well, my brother kind of helped me. He said 2K. One thing I do, outside of football, I like to chill a lot. So, yes, get on the game, and I'm on the game for hours. Like, I'm going to tell you the truth, it's a long time. Like, I look up and I'm like, oh, I got to go to bed. Like, it's getting reckless because we'll be on a 15-game streak. And it's, when you're winning like that and on the game with your guys, it's just really fun. So that's probably about it, though.
All right. Well, we won't divulge for privacy's sake. We won't divulge your gamer tag or anything like that.
We good. Only if they good, but we can't be losing all night.
Well, Cam, this has been an absolute pleasure. I know you're super busy, and we appreciate you carving out the time. No blowing smoke here. You can roll back the tape. And I don't want to upset other draft picks in the class, but you were my personal favorite that the Bengals selected in terms of value, skill set, need, everything kind of coming together. So this one's personally special to me for you coming on our show and talking with us. So we wish you the best of luck ahead, man. I know good things are ahead. So thanks for coming on.
Man, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Cam.